Hello, greetings. Thank you for watching this video. This is Michael W. Ford. Today I'm going to talk about the specific ancient Syrian and Arab and ancient Near Eastern origins for the Lucifer as we know it today. When you think of Luciferian, you have a specific flash in your mind, be it a more satanic manifestation, a face of the adversary, or the bringer of light, um, or even perhaps a goddess, or somewhere in those. But Lucifer has origins in many different traditions, mythologies, cults, religions prior to Judeo-Christianity, and has origins in those same traits, which are the embodiment of the Luciferian spirit and aim today. So I really want to focus on those and kind of explain them in a very as simple way as I can. I'm not going to go off into the different side notes of how these deific masks or deities manifest as other ones, but I'm going to keep it very narrow to centered around Syria and related to Venus, the morning and evening star. First, I'd like to say that in the ancient Hellenistic and Roman periods, and prior to that, there were Arab, what they call jinn, who became the jinn, as we know in Islam. Um, and Arsu and Azizu are recognized as tutelary or uh, patron deities relating to the morning and evening star. Now, in numerous temple reliefs, one being from the Temple of Bel and near Palmyra, um, Arsu is depicted, it's a deity depicted wearing Roman cuirass and military armor, riding a camel with a Medusa on his buckler or shield. Azizu is riding a horse wearing more traditional Arab robes, having a star on his shield. And there are numerous kind of offering inscriptions to the deities. Now, Azizu, his name translates the powerful, the strong, or forceful one. And Arsu, his name translate to gracious and mild. Now, the morning star, Azizu or Azizos, is the one who, with force and power, paves or cuts through the darkness to bring forth the rising sun. Now, Arsu is the form of the evening star who heralds the setting of the sun and the cool evening in the ancient Near East to give relief from the heat and activity of the day. So you can see there's this kind of balance to both. And from the city of Edessa, ancient Edessa, which was fought over by the Romans and the Palmyrans and the Sasanian Persians and the late Roman Empire, going into the Dark Ages. We see in Edessa Monimos and Azizos. It's the same deities. And relating to a more ancient, from a Bronze Age city of Ugarit, the earliest form of Athtar the Shining Rebel who fell is the male aspect of Venus, kind of the male incarnation of Allat, the goddess Allat, aspects of al-Uzza or al-Uzza, which I'll get into. Now, Arsu had a protective function, a renewing function, and at times was related to also Hermes and Mercury as a traveling, both as being traveling deities. They are identical and identified with the Dioscuri, Castor and Pollux, and it relates to the morning and evening star. Now, commonly in the ancient Near East, around the Palmyrene Empire, the late Roman Empire, in Syria, deities were invoked and honored, Arabic deities specifically with their names or epithets, in pairs. They were invoked in pairs. We see that on the votive offerings, the things like that. So Azizu, Arsu were invoked, and then Abigal, Ashar, and then you have Shalman, Abgal, or Manshar, and they were called in Arabic the Dijinya, which is associated or evolved into jinn. And this is means demon. It also means daemon, or in Aramaic, ill, or deity or god. So we see in different local areas of worship in the Palmyrene or Arabic desert stops among the various trade routes, there are shrines of the morning and evening star commonly presented. Now, the interesting thing, and here's something that might be a little confusing to some, is that in Assyria, Babylonia, all the areas I'm talking about, Venus as the morning and evening star had a goddess manifestation as well as a masculine incarnation. And I don't want to confuse with that. It's just you have to look at, as a Luciferian, what do the energies relating to those deific masks, so the deity or demon, what energies and traits are behind that mask. So the gender only has a limited use or depth of meaning. You have to go beyond that to the traits behind the mask, and that's the key. So we have the male astral god and also the goddess or female variant with the North Arabian goddess, who is al-Uzza. And it's the Arabic feminine form of Azizu, the masculine. Now, Arsu and Azizu have a connection with the book of Enoch, Enoch 1, which was written around 168 BC during the Seleucid Empire and the Maccabean Revolt. And there's a lot of demonic, satanic, Luciferian traits and symbolism stripped down and within that book of Enoch. The Watchers came down to earth, sought human wives, instructed them on all these arts, all of this wisdom, to create and destroy, to really become as a personal, your own God, to control your own life. Now, how you destroy yourself, or if you destroy yourself, or really shine and elevate yourself, that's up to you. That's not on the fallen angels, the Watchers. But these two are found within that myth as Shemihaza and Azazel. Now, Azazel has many different avenues of expression as a demon, fallen angel, watcher, etc. So now let's look at how the concept, the Ugaritic Bronze Age, from the city of Ugarit, tablet of Athtar the Shining Rebel who fell, is much older than the biblical Isaiah 14. Now we see the Ugaritic tale of Helel ben Shahar, as it says on my shirt. It translates to the Shining One, Shahar. That's one interpretation of it. And they are, or this is, identified with Lucifer, the morning star. Now, we have also a connection with the Ugaritic myth of the two deities, Deific Masks, who go forth on the steppe, or wilderness, the desert lands, the mountainous regions, which are considered dangerous, and also the abode of jinn, demons, etc., spirits, in the ancient and modern times. Now, there's depictions or mentionings of Shahar and Shalim, who are called the gracious gods in the Canaanite pantheon. And it says they are wandering the field they scoured or hunted on the fringes of the steppe. And this cult of hunting is also something that is found in the goddess Astarte or Atharte, and she's called the huntress, which we see in the later Greek Artemis, Diana, and going back to the Ugaritic goddess of Allat, who's a warrior. Now, there's a South Arabian deity of the morning star called Athtar or Ashtar. And he is also Lucifer in the sense that he's the original mention of the falling from the heavens to reign upon earth. And this is from a Baal myth. So he's associated also with agriculture, growing crops, sustaining life, etc. But Ashtar or Azizu are closely associated with the surrounding steppe or wilderness from which this myth continues. And we see from Isaiah, the later text, how you are fallen from heaven, O Helel ben Shahar. And this is found in a tablet, which is in my works, Dragon, the Two Flames, etc. It's known as KTU 1.61, and it gives an account of the deity Athtar or Ashtar after Baal's death in the Baal Cycle. He seeks to usurp Baal's throne and has to eventually resign to give up his plan. His feet, or he is not suited for the throne. He will not be the king on the heights of Zaphon, the mountain. and then he descends over the earth to become the god of it all in the Ugaritic tale. Ashtar is thrown down, and we see Helel ben Shahar and the Ugaritic Shalim as hypostasis of Athtar or Ashtar. And Helel ben Shahar, as it's conveyed in the Septuagint and Vulgate, renders the deity's name as Eosphoros and Lucifer. So we see Lucifer manifesting and continuing from Ashtar through different time periods, and manifesting again as Azizu and Azizos. And one of the names of Helel, I'll tell you, comes from a Hebrew verb meaning to light, to shine, and has an Akkadian, as Hebrew and ancient Akkadian are related. Elitu means bright and shining. Now, one thing with the goddess al-Uzza, her power, her role as a goddess, who was a jinn, who was her worship was overwhelmingly destroyed by the advent of Islam. She's a direct reflection of Enoch 1 and Azazel. For instance, women were said to invoke al-Uzza in the evenings with incense and offerings to seek love, to seek fulfillment of desire, and also to beautify themselves. That's one of the teachings of Azazel and Enoch 1 as a watcher, instructing women in the use of tinctures, makeup, but also dressing in certain ways, more or less what LaVey called command a look, looking the part more or less. And then you see the warlike aspect of the morning star, Azizu, in Azazel as the maker of weapons and shields and swords. We also know from the 4th century from Father Hieronymus in his work Hilarian's Life, mentions a cult in a place called al-Uzza, where the inhabitants, or some of them, worshipped Venus or al-Uzza because of Lucifer, to the cult of the people of the Saraceni, or the Saracens, are much dedicated. And this is important, that the name of the child of God is said to be Lucifer or Phosphorus. Both he and his mother are referred to in patristic literature. So we see that in reference to the Saracens and also to the Hellenistic Aphrodite. And that name means great, the great, in their language, according to this early writer. However, we know that Azizu translates the strong, to be powerful. So Azazel is a strong and powerful god. The strong god, whose epithets go on. So we see here that Lucifer, no matter in feminine manifestation or shape or form, or masculine or different roles, there's a balanced spirit, exalting the black flame, awareness, consciousness, power, magic, like the four pillars, uh, or the triad of the morning star, liberation, illumination, apotheosis, balance, power, wisdom, and strength, the four pillars in Luciferianism. This is the application of magic, the black flame, shining, reflecting into the face of those deific masks. Now, we see, coming towards a summary, with a focus on the goddess al-Uzza. And she is a divination and beneficial goddess, but she also has a violent aspect. During the Sasanian, Lakhmid, and Roman, during the kind of beginning of the Dark Ages, one of the wars, Al-Munir, a pagan Lakhmid Arab chieftain, raided a Roman various Roman settlements, but got several convents. And the nuns were burnt or given to al-Uzza. And this relates to this was a common practice in war in those times. Now, in the Kitab al-Asnam by Hisham ibn al-Kalbi, al-Uzza was a great goddess, or they call idol, among the Quraysh, and that was a tribe. And Allat and al-Uzza, Allat is Anat, the war goddess, the Canaanite war goddess, and this other deity, al-Manat, were exalted among the desert tribes. And each of the goddesses had a separate shrine near Mecca. And al-Uzza is derived from al-Aziz, which means the strong, the mighty. And al-Aziz, the mighty, is one of the 99 names of Allah, known from Quranic text. Now, here's the connection. Al-Uzza, they're seeing, we can see from the Enoch Shemihaza, could be a cognate of Uzza. And Shemihaza is identified as kind of a different variant of Azazel or Asael in Enoch 1 and various other the Ethiopian Enoch writings. We see also in the connection, finally, in Jewish lore that Uzza is identified with Abizithybod, the father devoid of counsel, if you know the demons of Solomon from the Testament of Solomon. And in early Jewish lore, this is another name for Samael, and Mastema, which brings it full circle to the deific mask of Lucifer in various forms, but having this, variations of that energy and the power that Luciferians identify with and strive to exalt and use in fueling our inner and outer transformations in this world. So, in all the things that I've referenced here in the 25 minutes, Lucifer, no matter how or what deity, deific mask you invoke, the common core aspect of Lucifer reflecting in the 11 points of power in our philosophy, which is parallel and harmonious with other left-hand path and Satanist traditions. We strive for liberation, illumination, apotheosis, and to build our foundations stronger and greater with balance, power, wisdom, strength. These are the keys to initiation on the left-hand path and Luciferianism. Behind the demonic mask, the satanic devilish mask, there is a self-illuminating torch, a brilliance, a light, a star of our own higher articulations, a refined consciousness, a shining deity, but balanced with a Therionic, demonic, monstrous, fueling primal fire, so given to us by the demonic feminine, the goddess in many different forms as the serpent within us, the Shakti, stimulating and rousing, awakening the Luciferian aspect. This is infernal union, as depicted on the shirt from Bible the Adversary. Anyway, if you like this video, like it, subscribe, do those things to promote. Thank you very much. Visit the Luciferian Apotheca. And I have many more works coming forth soon, including some advancements in the order of phosphorus in a public setting. Until then, Banama Araman.